this collective is, you have an incoming breakthrough coming in, a moment of clarity here. We have a clearing of negative energies, of clearing around creative blocks. We also have some transmuting of energies. You could be hearing music at this time or receiving messages from your guides through music at this time. I see that we're a diamond in the rough, so we've kind of been going through it. But please remember that just because a diamond is not polished and cut does not make it worth any less. And we have some intuitive nudges here, and this is around our house of wealth and possessions, and it was in the sign Virgo. So, you know, the Virgos are very highly critical of themselves, and they're very helpful, right? A very healed Virgo is helpful. They're incredibly giving. They are very honest and fair. Whereas unhealed would be hypercritical of themselves, prone to over-giving at times, nitpicking, that type of thing. So, as well as like germophobia, OCD tendencies, things of this nature. And what I noticed here is that this collective specifically is stuck in their little mind prison. Stuck in their mind prison around their destiny. Yes. I see the Strength and Page of Swords, right, for the overall theme of what's currently going on here. There seems to be some sort of thought process or idea that we have, because swords is around logic. And there's strength being had. So it's like a very new beginning way. It's still very much in the dark. We haven't quite unearthed everything yet. And we're having to handle when our little mind gremlins come in and kind of mess everything up. But I see very much here that the mind gremlins are here and they are strong. They are strong, and they are specifically talking to us about our destiny, our fortune, our fate, what our life will be, right? I also see that we have a bit of an issue here surrounding internalized pain around our inner security, foundation stability here. Right? The Four of Wands is all about a happy home, a happy marriage, a happy, just that feeling of being stable. And there's internalized pain here. A lot of internalized pain. And I also see this sideways card, which is back and forth. We go back and forth between a bunch of conflict here, whether internal or no, and leaving that behind. So we go back and forth in our little mind palace, agonizing over this over and over and over again. And I see we have the Knight of Swords as well. So we're trying to go from the Page into the Knight, a step forward. Moving forward, we were actually leaving this dark, shadowy aspect of the just beginning to moving into the next stage, right? The Knight of Swords is the second fastest knight in the deck. He is all about going forth with a plan, going forward with ideas. The Knight of Wands being the first, he's all action, flying by the seat of his pants, has no clue what he's doing, just jumping in with all the gusto, and no thought on how it's going to work. Knight of Swords has at least thought about it a little bit. They have some plan. So we're trying to get here, but it seems like our biggest hurdle at the moment is this internalized conflict. This internalized conflict in mind presence. So, why you need to hear this at this time is because this revolves around our happiness with the sun here. Inner child healing, happiness, optimism, that type of thing. And we have the Five of Pentacles here as well. So yeah, feeling left out and ostracized. Feeling left out and ostracized specifically around that Four of Wands again. The home life, the foundation, the stability, the security. You're probably someone who feels you're only happy when everything is in order. And what I mean by that is when your money's good, when your house is the way you like it, when your routine is good, right? You're probably someone who thrives on routine. When your routine is messed up, no. You know, your whole, it's really feeling like it's this like, it just feels messed up. You know what I mean? It just feels like everything's wrong, you know? Someone here could be autistic, right? It doesn't have to be that extreme, but definitely giving the OCD tendencies and autism, those types of things, where like one little thing's messed up and now all of a sudden everything's ruined. Just the whole day is off. I also see here that we are in a bit of an overgiving energy. We're trying to get rid of the anxiety and stuff like this that we're currently going through, the mind gremlins, but we're also overgiving in some capacity, right? We're overgiving somewhere. And I noticed that the theme for why you need to hear about it is because we're working towards that stability, that practical, grounded nature, feeling very secure, and that kind of putting you in that head over heart space of feeling level and content with life. But it's interesting to see the Queen of Cups in the reversed here, meaning that our feminine side, our nurturing, giving, loving side of ourselves, the creative side, all of that, the exact match to this specific part, our masculine and our feminine are not in balance. We're overgiving somewhere. We are overgiving somewhere. Yeah, there's somewhere we're overgiving, and that's directly causing this issue. Yeah, that's directly around our anxiety and bleeding. We want to get rid of the anxiety, but we're overgiving it some capacity somewhere. And we're also, it's like we're putting in that work and that discipline, but again, we're overgiving in some capacity. And you're probably aware of where that is. Whatever it is that triggers this, the little mind gremlins that keeps us stuck in this mind palace and reopens the wounds around security, foundation, and stability, that's what keeps us in that, I have to keep going, I have to keep doing this in order to grasp at any form of stability I can find. So like working at jobs that really aren't good for us mentally because it's going to give us the paycheck that we need, instead of just applying for other jobs while we're working there and moving on, right? We'd be staying stuck, not realizing you can leave that situation somehow. You know, not even exploring the options. We just stay here and we're like, okay, if I just plug away at this place that I hate, I'll still be able to get my security, even though it's wrecking me mentally and physically. Now, what you need to do about it, right? We need to, the Seven of Swords in reverse is like, it's like manipulation, you know, manipulation. And the Nine of Swords in reverse is, again, that leaving behind the anxiety and the nightmares. So we might also be afraid of being manipulated, right? There may be fears that in somewhere we're being manipulated, gaslit, being taken advantage of. That's coming in here, right? And what we're seeing is, what you need to do about it is, one, you need to be celebrating yourself more. You're being way too hypercritical, right? If you're trying to call in stability, you might not be at the end goal yet, but that doesn't mean that the whole journey that we spend there, we spend nitpicking our every single step. You know, you don't need to be doing that. We also need to get clear on what our truth is. Again, if you're the type of person who is staying at a job that you hate, but you're plugging away at it, and you're like, why can't you be happy about this? Why can't you just be grateful? You can be grateful and it can still suck. You can do both. It's okay. It's okay to recognize that you're not happy here, it's not really for you, and you should probably figure out a way to leave it. Instead of just telling yourself, well, I should just be happy I have this, and yada, yada, yada. You know, I should be grateful. I don't know why I can't just be happy at this terrible job that treats me like crap and doesn't pay me enough. Like, be for real. Be for real with yourself, you know? And yeah, there's this, like, you need to recognize that there is a part of you that is kind of keeping you in this space and helping you manifest more of the same stuff. Every time we get into that little mind gremlin place, we kind of sit there and we wallow in it, and cause more of the same. Now, that's not to say that you can't have emotions, right? It's not to say that you can't ever have those times where we do have a little bit of doubt, where we do feel a little sad and things aren't quite meshing with where we're at, so we're a little frustrated. That's fine. It's fine to have those feelings. But when we start telling ourselves, well, it'll always be this way, that's how things are, that's just my life, that's just yada yada, I just have to struggle, we manifest the struggle, we bring in the struggle, we tell our subconscious mind to look for more ways to struggle, right? And there's the Queen of Cups. We saw her earlier in the reversed of overgiving, right? So what this tells me is that we need to figure out if we're going to keep doing the overgiving path or if we're going to start pouring into our own cup. Okay? These were the two that were right here. Be for real with yourself. In what ways are you overgiving? In what ways are you not filling up your own cup? Okay? That's what we need to be doing. Because what we're doing here is we're so afraid of being used and taken advantage of. Right? We want to break free from that kind of energy, but we're also not being real with ourselves, and we're also, every time something is going wrong, we're telling ourselves that we deserve that kind of treatment, and then we manifest more of the same stuff. We go, oh, well, I just have to, my life is just this way, I have to suffer, I have to continue this way, when you don't need to be doing that. We want to leave it behind, but then we tell ourselves that we should stay where we're at and tolerate what we're tolerating. You know? So, I have Oracle advice cards to give to bring to you. So let's go ahead and pop over into that and make some room here. And that will give you some advice on how to proceed forward on your path here. Because it's very clear to me that you are aware of this tendency, you are working on it. It seems like we're going back and forth, and that's fine. That's part of the whole thing, is you have to learn how to, in order to learn how to overcome it, you have to deal with the mind games. They have to come up so that you can learn how to overcome the mind games. Not destroy them or make them go away, but how to work with them when they come up. And tell them, actually, it's okay, we're doing okay. I understand how you're feeling. I understand that this sucks, but that's not my reality anymore, okay? That's not, just because it's happening right now does not mean it always will be that way. So, let's see. Let me get you some Oracle advice cards. I was feeling this one, by the way, it's called out to me. So, it is my intention that if you see my face here or anywhere else on the internet, that your burdens will be lifted and you will be feeling better. I am the campfire that you rest at right before you go face the final boss, which is, in most cases, yourself. So, Spirit, let's soothe their anxieties and ease their fears, and give them the clarity that they need in order to proceed on. If you would be so kind. So, Spirit's the divine order of the highest good. What advice can you give my friend here on this situation and how they can proceed forward, please? Let's do 5 cards, please. For change, positive change. What advice do you have for my friend here? I see a bunch of flippers happening, which is often like things that want to come out but are hidden. So it's like getting stuff off your chest. Wow, 5 cards came out. That's funny. So first we have Kind Bull as well for the shadow card energy, that theme, generosity, prosperity, and kindness. Your kind and giving natures others would know. So you're a very kind person, like I said. You're very kind, a very kind person. Someone who's generous, probably too generous. Middle of the deck, sensitive deer. That's interesting. Clarity, adaptability, divination. Pay attention and use your keen insight. So yes, be discerning on where your kindness goes. You'll notice how it went from deer to bull. Okay, we have to pay attention and defend ourselves. Okay, you don't need to look, it's fine to, you don't want to be nice, you want to be kind. Nice gets you used, kind gets you respected. Kindness calls people out on their BS. Okay, we have the shark here, the powerful shark. Comprehension, progress, improvement. You have to trust your instincts. This was in the reverse, which means we're ignoring our instincts. Okay, we're ignoring it. We're ignoring the signs. That's interesting. Yeah, we want that progress, comprehension, and improvement, but we are ignoring our own instincts. Your instincts is the clarity, your instincts are clarity. Yeah, it's literally the thing that you are asking for. Disguised chameleon, versatility, camouflage, agility. Careful creature, cloaked colors, give me heart with peace. Blending in. Interesting. Yeah, versatility, camouflage, agility. Yeah, so it's like a hidden shark. Chameleon. Now, whenever, it reminds me of a different oracle deck. The chameleon talks about act as if. So if you're trying to call in something different, if you're trying to handle the mind gremlins, right? First, you have to say things out loud in order for your subconscious mind to hear it. Because our subconscious mind is a proving mind. It will always seek confirmation bias. So if you're always telling yourself, my life sucks, everything's always really hard, your subconscious mind is a proving mind. So it's going to actively look for the things, people, opportunities, and places that are going to confirm what you say out loud to yourself. Usually that comes from a wound, a trauma of some sort, of maybe we grew up really poor, so we didn't have a lot of money. Maybe we grew up around people who never really kept their promises or were very flaky, those types of things. So we may not have come out like born feeling that way, but learned. And now instead of it being other people, we've decided that that's our life, and so we constantly tell ourselves that that's what we deserve, that that's what our life is, and our subconscious mind literally looks for the things that will confirm that. So acting as if is telling yourself what you do deserve, even if it feels crazy, woo-woo, silly at first, right? And then your subconscious mind will start looking for those things. So like, I deserve to have my bills paid on time every month. My bills are always paid. I attract healthy relationships and friendships, right? Soon, like you repeat that enough, then your subconscious mind is going to look for it, okay? You're going to look for it. You're going to be attracted to instincts. That's how that works. Even on your worst days, if you're like, okay, today's not necessarily the best day, I'm not feeling great, but that does not mean I deserve to forever feel this way, right? What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up, right? Negative times are temporary always. There's always a dawn, right? There's always a dawn. The darkest night always has a dawn. So the more that you focus on that, right? Not toxic positivity, not spiritual bypassing. You don't just live there and be like, oh, I can never be sad, and I can never, like, I only must never be happy. No. It's okay to complain and to feel like crap, but we always want to make sure that we're remembering that our subconscious mind is a proving mind, right? We don't live in the suck, okay? We don't live there. When life is hard, we don't live in the my life is hard and it will always be hard. No, don't do that, okay? So let's see. Patient turtle, endurance, commitment, serenity, strengthen your connection to the earth. Okay, so this would mean Patience for one. It takes time to rewrite your subconscious mind. It takes time to rewire all those little synapses. So it will take time. I know, we never want to hear that, right? But a good thing to do whenever we get into the mind gremlins, whenever they show up and they start eating at us, is to ground. Okay? A lot of people do grounding by going out in nature, going on walks, being near an open window, like just taking a moment to enjoy, like focus elsewhere, right? You can practice grounding techniques like, what's a good one? Deep breathing exercises. So like the box breath, 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. That usually helps regulate the nervous system. If you're the type of person who has panic attacks, a good way to handle those is when we start feeling like we might head in that direction, you can put ice cubes in your hand. That sudden change in temperature will cause your brain to focus there instead of on trying to prevent the panic attack, you know? Those types of things, like, somatic practices, so like dancing, moving the body through exercise, those types of things get us out of here and into our body in order to ground, in order to kind of return to center and keep us from spiraling, right? Loyal llama, patience, stamina, diligence, another patience. Persistent and peaceful grassland dweller, show fortitude in troubled times. Yeah, a llama. I just thought of Napoleon Dynamite, the llama. Stamina and diligence. So yeah, you're going to have to take time and catch yourself, okay? Whenever we're in that gremlin thing, we're starting to do that. Because we will, that's part of the process, is you have to catch it and correct it, okay? So if you're like, man, that sucks. But wait, no, you know, the faster, like, the longer you do this, the faster you'll catch it and correct it, and then soon enough, it will become extremely easy and second nature, to where you don't even have to really do that often anymore. It'll be like once in a blue moon, you'll say something like that, and you'll go, nope, no you don't, right? And then we have wise rabbit, cunning, friendliness, optimism. Make full use of your wisdom to help yourself easily jump over difficulties. Use that beautiful brain of yours that you spend so much time worrying with and have been nitpicking yourself to pieces, trying to fix everything about yourself, right? You need to be using it differently. Because right now, shame will never change you as much as optimism will. And you're like, oh. You probably don't believe me. You've used shame and guilt in order to try to change yourself this whole time, and how has that been working out for you? Have you become your ideal self by nitpicking yourself relentlessly in front of the mirror and telling yourself how awful you are at everything? No, probably not. Because if we could do that, you would have won already. We would all have the gold stars and the trophies that say that we are the kings and the queen of awesome because we shamed ourselves. You know? Oh, I just noticed the complex octopus. Complexity, multitasking, creativity. Discover a different version of yourself and discover the power of transformation. I'm telling you, when we discover that the subconscious mind is a proving mind, it is much easier to call forth better things, because we go, oh, okay, so if I just stop saying things are awful, then my subconscious mind will naturally help me find my way out of my own situation, you know? And you don't have to believe me, you just try it. Try it, because you've already spent all this time picking yourself apart, ripping yourself to pieces, shaming yourself, guilting yourself, being mean to yourself, berating yourself. You might as well try loving on yourself a little bit. Try calling in things that are good for you. Try telling yourself all the reasons why you deserve nice things and see how it changes you. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that it was helpful. If you are interested in a personal reading, or you want to know things like, what does the week have ahead for me? What does this retrograde mean for me? What does the new moon in Pisces have in store for me? I offer those at the link in my bio. Please feel free to check it out and see if I vibe with you. If I do not, or rather, if you're watching this from the YouTube, when I post it later, that link will be in the description box down below. Now, if you do not vibe with me, and this is the last time I see you, thank you for your time and your energy, for choosing me to be your reader for today. I wish you so much love, luck, joy, peace, abundance, happiness, wealth, and healing on your journey. Please remember that life is an ever crooked path and you are never off of it, okay? And if you have chosen to follow me and you do like my vibe, thank you so much. I really, really, truly appreciate each and every one of you and wish all the same for you. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you're watching this. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.